Hey, how's it going, guys? I'm Paradoxic, and welcome back to Loki. Welcome back to Marvel's Loki. This time we're on season 1, episode 6, and this is it. This is it. This is the official kind of season/series finale. I believe this is a limited run series, the same way as WandaVision was. So I think it's more accurate to say series finale. But yeah, this is it. This is the end. So 6 episodes. It's gone by pretty quickly. It feels like it's actually gone by pretty quickly. But similar to WandaVision and Falcon and Winter Soldier, we've had a very, very compact and concise and clear-cut kind of series of episodes of storytelling, and it's been great fun. It's been such great fun actually watching this and delving into what this kind of show has had to offer in terms of actual kind of future of the MCU content, as well as actual kind of alternative Loki content too. And it's been so fun. But yeah, this is it. So last time we actually saw the Void. We saw the Void where Loki and pretty much anyone else who ever got pruned, anyone or anything else that ever got pruned was sent to. So we had that meant we actually had like a bunch of Easter eggs too of other things in kind of TVA history that had been pruned. They pruned a Thanos copter. They pruned a giant version of the Yellow Jacket helmet. They pruned. I think I went back. I definitely went back and actually discovered some stuff I hadn't seen, and also kind of actually corrected myself on things that I had seen but thought other things. So I think the Avengers building is actually the more kind of intriguing one, and I think a lot of people have pointed this out, that it actually connects a bit more to Kang, because the Avengers Tower is, design-wise, it looks very similar to the Avengers Tower we see in Age of Ultron and stuff, but it's actually, the side does not have the Avengers A, it doesn't say Avengers on it at all, it says Kang. So apparently Kang is actually like the kind of human alias that Kang the Conqueror in the comics actually goes by, so then that's actually like a direct reference to Kang. So I think maybe like an alternate timeline where he built a building and then it got pruned, or maybe like he like his version of New York got pruned or something. But either way, I don't know. But apparently that's a kind of tie into him. So I think that's led people to believe that we actually might see him, like we might get his cameo in this finale. So that will be what leads into Ant-Man and the Wasp, because Ant-Man and the Wasp Quantumania, because that's when he's meant to debut. So it'll be fun seeing if that is indeed true. But yeah, we saw that. We saw the Yellow Jacket helmet, like an enlarged version, so like a version of the Yellow Jacket who actually learned how to go full size and giant size, actually got pruned, so that was there. The Thanos copter, we saw the Thanos copter got pruned, and that was there, so that was cool. And also one thing I didn't actually notice, I think it was straight after they showed the Mjolnir buried in the ground, like directly under that, like jumping off of the hammer and into a jar, was a frog in Thor's outfit, and it's because that is actually Throg. That is actually Thor as a frog. So I think it's been mentioned before how in the main MCU timeline, the one we've been experiencing so far, like there was a time when they were kids, presumably when they were kids, when Loki actually transformed Thor into a frog as a joke and stuff. So I think I don't know if this is like that's from a timeline where he did that, but then it was permanent, or maybe he chose something else. But I think in the comics there is actually a frog, like a Thor who becomes a frog, and he is worthy of the hammer. I don't know if that means the hammer itself is actually full size, but then like a tiny frog is actually holding it, or if it actually minimizes or whatever. But either way, Thor the frog is a thing. Is a thing. So we had a glimpse at Throg, and he was wearing the cape and the whole kind of little 6 kind of little circular pad things on the chest. And it was basically Throg. It was Throg. So that was cool for more avid kind of comic readers to notice. That was cool. And we had a bunch of different things, and then we actually met the Lokis too. We actually met the Loki variants, and we had boastful Loki who vanquished the Avengers and got the stones, and then we had classic Loki who was incredible. Classic Loki was awesome. Then we had Kid Loki who actually killed Thor and became a variant. And then, arguably the best of them all, arguably beating classic Loki by just a mile, just like an inch, was Alligator Loki, and he had no lines. It had like little no lines, just like some growls and stuff here and there. But its most kind of most kind of noticeable kind of actions were literally trying to bite people's hands off, and it bit off the hand of President Loki. We very briefly had President Loki, who was actually another variant from another time. So we had a lot of Lokis, a lot of Lokis in one episode, and then we actually even got Sylvie back, and she did her thing with Mobius, and Mobius got found a car in the void, and he did his whole lightning speed kind of McQueen deal to get Sylvie out of danger's grasp and everything. So we had that, and then we had Alioth. So apparently Alioth is also a connection to Kang too. Alioth is actually like a cloud monster that Kang himself controls and everything. And then we find out that Alioth was actually the key to discovering who was behind the TVA. So a lot of stuff went down. But then the episode ended with classic Loki's sacrifice, and he literally enchanted, conjured up like an entire projection of Asgard to try and distract Alioth, and then he actually managed to help save himself, 2 different versions of himself. So yeah, I think classic Loki. I think classic Loki's history was unarguably the more kind of enticing and more kind of emotional and stuff too. Like, he was a Loki that actually managed to survive Thanos in Infinity War, but then he went on to just kind of live like a lonely life because that's what the TVA had determined was the right path for him. So as soon as he tried and re-establish connections with Thor and everyone else, then they decided to actually capture him and turn him into a variant. So yeah, but then he went out like a badass. He went out like an absolute beast, and pretty safe to say he has the entire fandom's respect and admiration for what he did. So hopefully he can now live on spiritually, maybe even with Frigga, because I think, given that he survived Thanos, I think his timeline will probably still have the whole Frigga dying thing in the Dark World. So hopefully he can actually, meet back up again with his mother and, spend time with her in Asgard, in Valhalla, or like Asgardian heaven, wherever that is, if that is Valhalla. But yeah, it was cool stuff. So we had that. We had Mobius going back. He actually swore to then make it his new mission to actually burn down the TVA. So he swore to Loki and Sylvie that he would burn down the TVA, and thanked them both for giving him the spark and everything. So it's gonna be interesting seeing what he gets up to, if he actually has to fight Ravonna, and maybe if he actually frees Hunter B-15, then they can actually tag team up and actually take down the TVA together and get their lives back on track. So that'll be cool to see. But yeah, I think the main kind of, the main thing we need to see is actually who is behind the TVA, and is it Kang? Kang never really occurred to me last episode. Actually watching the last episode, Kang never actually occurred to me until in when I was actually in editing, and I actually thought, oh yeah, Kang could actually fit this description pretty well. So yeah, I'll tell you what, though, it's a nice change of pace from the Mephisto theories. It's a very nice change of pace from the Mephisto theories, but also, at this point, I really couldn't care less whether or not Mephisto is showing up. I'm just going to patiently wait to see when he does show up, and then wait to celebrate then, instead of actually hyping up for random fan theories. So yeah, it should be fun. It should be a fun time. But that is pretty much all I have from the last one. So this finale should be a whopper and actually end on a high note, and then introduce us to some crazy multiverse of madness stuff. So that'll be fun to see. But yeah, I think that is pretty much all I can remember. Other stuff kind of seems kind of more mild, like Loki actually learning to enchant too. Sylvie actually helped Loki learn to enchant, and then together they actually opened up a gateway through kind of Alioth and stuff like that. So yeah, but yeah, that is pretty much it. So on to the finale, episode 6, on to the reaction for the finale. So yeah, as you guys know the drill. This one will only be the best bits. This reaction will just be the best bits and the kind of the highlights of the episode. But if you want to see any reactions that don't make it into this cut, then they will all be available over on the full-length reaction over on Patreon, where you just need the episode from Disney Plus and you can sync it up and it'll be good to go. So that will be just as much fun. But yeah, on to Marvel's Loki, Season 1, Episode 6. Let's go.
Way to go, Tic Tac!
That's how you punch.
Oh, damn.
Let me put you on hold.
Oh, the music, the lines, oh, yeah.
Higher, further, faster. Baby.
Oh, okay, what's this? Is this a come? What is this? Greta Thunberg? Okay, she has a line. Malala Yousafzai and Nelson Mandela? Damn, all famous figureheads. All famous figureheads. Whoa. Oh, are those black holes? Singularities? Oh, yeah, Vision. Yeah. Maya Angelou, Sylvie. Damn. Is this a time stream? This must be a time stream, right? God, who's gonna be inside? Who's inside? Who's actually running this place? This looks like something out of like a kind of horror kind of genre, like Dracula's Castle or something, but just less castle-y.
Well, if you think it's a bad idea, I prefer you to speak your mind.
We've come too far for anything else. Ms. Minutes, you sneaky little minx.
Welcome to the Citadel at the end of
The
time.
Citadel at the end of time.
Come on.
He's impressed.
He was impressed.
He who remains.
He who remains.
And who is he? We write our own destiny now.
Oh,
Sure you do.
I'm so proud of
Good
him.
luck with that.
Oh, you know, well, that sounds overly threatening.
Some things had to get worked out, but I'm downloading the files you need.
She's
now.
not going to tell her, is she? She's not going to tell her that Loki and Sylvie made it to the Citadel.
But he thinks this'll be more useful.
Who?
Happy reading.
He who remains. Yeah, now Ms. Minutes can't be trusted. She is a sneaky little minx. What is she up to? What's she really up to? Ah, the Timekeeper statue's here as well. Oh, only 3 of them. Only 3 of them. One's been broken down. Only 3 statues. Yeah. They must be the same statues too. So there was a 4th one. There used to be a 4th one. Oh boy. Oh. Oh. Jonathan Majors! It's him! It's Kang! It's Jonathan Majors!
This is wild.
It's Kang!
The 2 of you, same person. I mean, it's a little unnatural, but
Come on, let's talk. From my office.
Oh, he has an office. Okay, he's fancy. He has an office. Damn, okay. He looks cool.
Not what
He
you
looks really
expected,
cool. Yeah. Seems calmer than I expected, yeah. I thought he'd be like more like Thanos, just like getting up out of a chair all menacing and intimidating. Oh. Well then. Oh. Oh, jeez. That's cool. Reminds me of the Sanctum. Yeah, with the circular kind of thing, the eye thing. Oh, they're gonna fight. They're gonna duke it out.
You're gonna prove me?
I like that idea, but you know, my standards might be a little bit higher in that area than yours.
Has he
You know,
freed
with
B-15?
close personal friends.
I'm sorry, Mobius.
Has he freed B-15?
Now that we know your secret.
What's the secret?
What did you do?
Did he reveal the truth to all of them? Did he tell all of them? Oh no, B-15! She's been freed. B-15's been freed. Oh, Fremont, Ohio, 2018. Ohio gets featured a lot in Marvel stuff now. Yeah, Black Widow now Loki. I'm sure it's showed up somewhere else.
What the hell is going on here?
Oh,
Renslayer.
Renslay's a variant. Yeah,
What the hell are you doing in my school?
she was a
That
teacher.
isn't Judge Renslayer.
Oh
We
shit.
have a lot to talk about.
Okay, she's a variant too. Damn, even the most dedicated hardcore member is a variant. I'm not sure what I was expecting, but it certainly wasn't this. This is, yeah, like a name like Kang the Conqueror. It's not exactly, you know, matching the whole Conqueror aspect. I'm not sure. Oh, yeah, he knows the future. He knows the future.
It's a parlor trick.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's all
don't
scripted
you
for him.
wonder every step you took to get here? Lamentus the Void, I paved the road.
They got here because he wanted them to.
You?
This is Chuck from Supernatural all over again. This is literally Chuck from Supernatural all over again. All over again. Sam and Dean facing Chuck. That's what this is. Yeah.
Free will?
Free will? Only one person gets free will. The one in charge.
Sounds more like a dictatorship. Yeah.
Eons of friendship. And you threw it all away on a couple of Lokis. No, Mobius. I didn't betray you. You're of no danger to me.
Is that what you think?
Oh no. Okay, well, jeez.
In search of free will.
In search of free will.
I understand your moral objections.
Okay.
And just who are you?
I've been dubbed many names by many people.
Okay.
A ruler, a conqueror,
Oh yeah, yeah.
he who remains. A jerk. Simple.
Just say Kang. Come on, just say Kang.
Eons ago, before the
animation.
TVA, a variant of myself lived on Earth in the 31st century.
A variant in the 31st century.
He was a scientist, and he discovered that there were universes stacked.
The
on top of each
multiverse.
other. They shared technology and knowledge, using the best of their universes to improve the others. Some of us, new worlds meant only one thing: new
invasion.
lands to be conquered.
Conquered, yeah.
Erupted.
Oh, is that how the multiversal war happened then?
War. Each
The
variant
multiversal war.
fighting to preserve their universe and annihilate the others.
Oh damn, the 3 timekeepers.
No. This is where we diverge from the dogma. I weaponized Elias, and I ended the multiversal war.
Ah. Ah, jeez, just like the pruning.
There's 2 options. One, you kill me and destroy all this, and you don't just have one devil, you have an infinite amount. Or you 2 run the thing.
They run the timeline. They
You're
become
lying.
timekeepers. Yeah.
Why would you give up being in control?
I'm tired.
That's fair. Yeah.
And I'm older.
They want to retire.
I'm older than I look. It's not personal. It's practical.
It was personal to me.
Grow up! Grow up, Sylvie!
Poor choice of words.
Murderer!
Very poor choice of
Hypocrite!
words. Oh.
I flipped earlier when I said I know how everything is going to go. I knew everything up to a certain point, and that point was about 7, 8, 9, 10 seconds ago.
So now things have changed. Oh,
But now I have
branches!
no idea how
Branches!
the rest of this is going to go.
Oh, the timeline's branching.
Feels like a fresh start.
I love these shots, like the zoom out shot. Oh boy, oh yeah, he wouldn't know that was coming. He would not know that was coming.
talk about
Yeah,
it.
he wouldn't see
How
that
about we
coming.
finish what we started and kill him?
I know the TVA has hurt us both, but what if by taking him out, we risk unleashing something even worse?
Yeah.
All I'm suggesting is we just take a minute to think about it.
Has this whole thing been a con?
Really? That's what you think of me?
Oh,
After all this time?
oh no.
Sure, why
No,
not?
guys, please. Guys, please
Even
don't.
Loki's master plan comes together.
No, guys, come on, please
I
don't
never
do
trusted you, did
this. Oh, oh god, oh, now they're fighting. Oh, jeez. So Kang gets a free show before chaos comes to reign. Oh, I love those little twirls he does. I love those twirls he does in the air. Oh. Whoa, she vanished him.
Sylvie, stop.
Oh,
Stop.
oof, that is awfully close. Awfully close.
I don't want a throne. I just want you to be okay.
Oh, damn. Oh. Okay. Oh, Kang's just... Okay. Oh. Loki and Sylvie. Their first kiss. Okay. Oh, damn. A kiss and a shove. A kiss and a shove. God damn. So that thing acts as a tempad too then? That thing acts as a tempad too. Did the blade even go in? I think the blade did go in. The blade did go in. Oh. So this guy isn't Kang then. Kang is out there. He's a far more evil version then. So Sylvie is the one who unlocks the multiverse. Sylvie is the one who unleashes the multiverse upon the MCU. All those branches. Yeah. Jeez, wow. Branches from branches too. It's not just one branch, but it's like branches and then branches from those branches, and yeah, at the end. Oh, jeez, it's like a cracking throughout all of time and space. Yeah. Time streams converging, yeah. Being unleashed, jeez, it's everywhere. So, yeah, oh, they're redlining. All of them are redlined. There's not a single branch. There are a few branches that have not redlined.
Who said anything about turning back?
Yeah. God. This is gonna be nightmarish. This is gonna be nightmarish.
For all time.
Whoa, gee. How many hands does that clock have? How many hands does that clock have? How the hell are you supposed to tell what time it is? Well, it's 5 PM and it's 3 AM? What?
But someone is coming. Countless different versions of a very dangerous person, and
God.
they're all set on war. We
Yeah.
need to prepare.
Take it easy. You're an analyst,
Safe to say
right?
Loki's
What division
far
are you
more
from?
terrified of
Who
Kang
are
than he
you?
ever
What's
was of
your name?
Thanos. Yeah. Oh, it's changed. There's a new statue. Kang statue. That's Kang statue. Oh, damn. That's the ending. That's the ending. That's the series ending. Just one statue of Kang. Okay, I'm just gonna. there has to be a post-credit. I refuse to believe that this could not have some kind of special post-credit scene. Damn. Okay. Yeah. Jesus. Okay. Post-credit. Okay, it's post-credit. Okay. Loki's file. Loki will return in season 2. There's a season 2. There's gonna be a season 2 of Loki. Okay. So there will be a season 2 of Loki. There will, in fact, be a season 2 of Loki. Okay. Okie dokie. Loki dokie. Oh, yeah, god damn, that episode, god damn. That opening alone is really well done. I was expecting the usual kind of Marvel fanfare and stuff. But no, they start. I think they start with a few like unfamiliar tones, and then that actually blended into the same kind of song, like the same song that plays at the end of Endgame, and it was also the same song that Steve had on his amongst his music collection in Winter Soldier. So that song, funny how now that I actually want to talk about it, I can't remember what it's called, but it's a song he actually danced to with Peggy at the end of Endgame, like a really kind of sweet romantic song. And then along with that, they actually had other lines too. They had all various lines from different characters throughout the movies, actually like Natasha and Quill and Groot and everything. So, you know, yeah, I think that like the opening scene from the Marvel logo to actually going through history and going through like we have famous figureheads too, like Nelson Mandela, Greta Thunberg. We had Malala Yousafzai, we had Maya Angelou. You know, there's all these different famous figureheads that actually, you know, now exist within the MCU as well, and actually have actually coexist with their kind of version of reality, and like different timelines too. Like I think, you know, like it actually zoomed out of like various timelines and actually showed them kind of being within like different various like singularities too, and stuff. Like that stuff was really cool. But then we go into one singularity, and then we actually see like another time stream. So then the sacred timeline is what orbits the kind of the end of time, like beyond the end, beyond the void at the end of time. Like at the end of time is where the sacred timeline is, and then that's where Kang is. So I'll get to that in a minute. But that opening was really cool. That opening was actually really fun. And you know what? Thinking back to it, I think, given how much this is referenced, given how much of this kind of leads into the multiverse, and given like how close we are to the multiverse of madness, I like looking back, I would have actually, I think what could have made that even better, like what could have made that opening even better and even more multiversal, if they actually had lines from other Marvel products as a whole, other Marvel movies, like if they had it from the X-Men, like if we had a line from Logan, or from Wolverine, or from any of the other X-Men, if we had a line from like the older Fantastic Four movies, if we had like voiceovers from them, if we had some stuff from Maguire, and if we had some stuff from Maguire and Garfield's Spider-Man too, if we had that, then people would have been even more excited for No Way Home, because then, yeah, you know, like that is like the ultimate kind of like solid kind of theory, and like the one like the one kind of theory that most people are actually in tune with right now, that Maguire and Garfield are both going to show up in No Way Home and stuff. So if we had voiceovers from other Marvel products outside of the MCU, or even the Marvel television shows and stuff, like the Netflix shows and Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. and stuff, like then that would show that even if it is a different timeline that runs only in some sense of parallel to ours, even if it is like a different timeline, then it's still canon because it's still within the multiverse. So it would be ending the canonicity debate once and for all, but still, like, it would have been actually such a cool reference too. So I think, like, that would have made it better. And I think if you look at it that way, then they might have actually been limiting themselves in some way just by referencing the kind of past MCU history. But then that would have been like such a cool way to do, like, oh yeah, there's the multiverse, and now all these other branches, those are actually the other movies from the Sony and Fox products, and all the other Marvel TV shows are over here too. You've got Daredevil, you've got Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., you've got Punisher, you've got Runaways over here doing their own thing. So like the emphasis of doing their own thing is literally just means like they're in their own time stream, but they do kind of coexist without any actual sense of cohabitation or anything like that. So yeah, but that opening was cool. That opening was very, very well done. So that was fun. And then we have Loki and Sylvie walking up the steps to the Citadel at the End of Time. So that location alone is an interesting place, like just like a sci-fi version of Dracula's castle, like a sci-fi Marvel version of Dracula's castle. And I think Dracula is actually a character in the comics too. Like we've had a vampire reference in this show, but then Dracula himself actually does exist in Marvel comics. So vampires and stuff are things, and Morbius is a thing. So yeah, I think it just kind of reminds me of like something you'd see out of like a horror movie, like a castle like that, like a giant mansion. But that was a Citadel at the End of Time, and within that we ran into Ms. Minutes. Ms. Minutes in this episode is the sneakiest minx she has ever been throughout this entire show. She is, she just was like, she was again trying to be a conduit, trying to be a messenger for Kang, and she was actually passing deals through him and giving them their final warning before they actually met him and everything. So Ms. Minutes was there, and then the statues. I think the title they gave that she gave him is all like He Who Remains. Like I think he Who Remains is pretty singular, but then also like that kind of room with the statues in, there were 3 kind of timekeepers, but then only one of them. There used to be 4. One of them was actually knocked down, but there actually used to be 4. So I think that was like an interesting parallel. Like I think. A parallel maybe to his decisions, like maybe he actually creates like 3 timekeepers, or 3 timekeepers to actually to command and to lead the TVA. But then again, those things are actually just fake. Like again, it's just a way for him to actually like pass his energy and his dictations of time through the TVA and into the actual real kind of sacred timeline and everything. So. And then there was another interesting tidbit. I think this seems less surprising given that everyone at the TVA is meant to be variants. They're all meant to be variants. But I think what's less surprising, I think it's less surprising, but it's still somewhat kind of like, oh damn, okay, that's it seems like a more surprising confirmation that Renslayer herself is also a variant. She was a teacher in Ohio in 2018 Ohio. She was a teacher in 2018 Ohio, and I think whether or not her name was still Ravonna Renslayer is a question, because I think she gets an actual name, but then the other kind of actual variants actually, like Mobius gets Mobius, but then whether or not that was his actual name is, that's a question to be asked. And then all the other TVA agents get Hunter, B-15, like they got all these different actual kind of working kind of labels and titles and numbers and whatnot. So whether or not her name was actually Ravonna Renslayer is a question, but then she was a teacher in 2018. So yeah, I think the TV agents are captured and like they're made variants years and years before the TVA. I mean, to be fair, I think it's years before, but then the TVA itself exists outside of space and time. So I think like there's no definitive kind of time gap between its creation and also like I mean. They've said that the files on the creation of the TVA are classified, but then because it exists outside of space-time, I'm wondering if maybe it actually is classified, or maybe that's just something that they tell them to avoid telling them, oh, like, the TVA was existed for this sole purpose, and everyone here is variant, so like it's not really created with any particular person in mind. But I think maybe it's because they actually don't have files on the creation because there's no actual kind of time or date to stamp and stuff like that. So maybe the creation can only be tracked back to the very first variant to be employed and recruited by Kang himself. Maybe that would be the end of it. But then, of course, that would actually reveal that the TVA is actually completely made up of variants who work for Kang and will work under Kang without knowing the truth and everything. So yeah, but Ravonna herself actually was also a thing, and I think Ravonna's arc in this episode too is actually interesting. Is like because I think with her it's a very, very different sense of devotion. I think in this episode too they amplify the way that she feels, and it's like for her it's like she feels betrayed too, but it's like a betrayal that she's struggling to accept, because again it's like for her it's like she has spent so many she spent so many years working, going from an actual hunter to a judge, actually being promoted and actually spending all those literally countless kind of time years actually working with the TVA and actually pruning variants and capturing them and sentencing them and maybe recruiting them if necessary and everything. So I think for her it's the belief that if everything she's been doing is actually a lie and the life that she's been living with the TVA is a lie, then what is the truth? And actually having to accept that truth is harder for her than actually doing anything else. So I think and then she left too. She left and took the pruning stick with her, and then said that she was going in search of free will. So I am curious to know exactly what kind of path that entails. Like if she is actually going to go back to find out, if she is going to find out if she is going to go to find out where she came from too. Because then again, all the TV agents are variants, so then she is one too. So then maybe she's actually going to find out where she came from. But then, it would be a bit of a flip flop because from in that season going from someone who's actually willing to fight back against Mobius and actually insist on calling him betrayed, and even her feeling betrayed by Mobius too. Like Mobius was like her; he was a devoted and loyal and kind of hardworking agent of the TVA, and then he gave that, and then as she quoted, he literally gave it up for two Lokis. He gave it up for two different variants of the same people. So and he gave it up for two variants too, the very people they're meant to actually capture and control and everything. But props to Mobius for maintaining his stance, actually for sticking with the kind of the fight for free will and freedom, and actually fighting for people's control over their own lives and everything. But then for Ravonna, I think deep down she does still want that. But then again, like she's been fighting for the TVA for so long and for the timekeepers for so long, and she's even actually had direct contact with the fake timekeepers. So she's been led all along to believe that what she was fighting for was real. But then having it blow up in your face like that, it's not always like an easy thing to process. So you can understand where she's coming from, but then, at the same time, it's like, she is definitely, kind of more antagonistic from that angle, but yeah, that stuff was fun. And yeah, we met him. We met him. We met Kang. I mean, he didn't officially call himself Kang and everything, but I think because it was Jonathan Majors, I think we all know he's meant to be a Kang with the way his story unfolds in this episode. I think it's clear that he's meant to be a Kang. So, and that's an interesting concept too, that multiple Kangs, because of the multiverse and because of what happened, like multiple versions of Kang and even worse versions of Kang can exist and do exist, and they're coming. So that is an interesting kind of thing. So yeah, but Jonathan Majors as Kang, he was brilliant. He very much surprised. I think he surprised me even more because I think, again, haven't read the comics, so I don't know a great deal about Kang. I don't know how he's meant to be, who he's meant to be, what he's meant to do, what his motivations are, or what his personality is. But I think hearing a name like Kang the Conqueror, I think, again, not to be too stereotypical or judgmental, but then you do expect someone a bit more like a bit closer to Thanos in terms of actual demeanor and appearance, not appearance, but the demeanor. Even appearance-wise, I think he's purple and green in the comics, but in this one they go for a more human-looking appearance, which is totally cool. But then I think he seemed a lot more calmer, a lot more calmer, a lot more jumpy, a lot more kind of energetic than I expected. I expected him to be a bit more like Thanos with a bit more intimidation and stuff in him. I think with Thanos that's more of a Thanos thing. There's that kind of personality, that kind of presence and vibe is kind of reserved for him. But with Kang, it's like he seems a lot more kind of open and a lot more kind of not necessarily carefree, but he's very, very much open with his time and with his kind of his kind of like that just holding that kind of meeting with Loki and Sylvie and explaining everything to them in due time. So that was fun. But yeah, Jonathan Majors, I think a lot of people will actually recognize him from his more recent television appearance with Journey Smollett in Lovecraft Country. So I think I haven't seen that. I don't know what that's meant to be. I think maybe like a Lovecraft story of some kind. But I think I actually saw like a clip or I think or like a part of the trailer back way back when, before the show actually came out. I think I vaguely remember seeing seeing it in a pre-roll ad for a YouTube video. So yeah, I think it's meant to be some kind of like horror, sci-fi, fantasy type of thing. So I don't know what it is, but he's in that, and apparently he's really really great at it too. And I think in this one alone, he is. And I think it's also because of the fact that again he is playing one version of Kang. He is playing one version of Kang. So this one is the one who's arguably even more like this, and then an actual evil one, the actual evil one that maybe we're actually meant to see in well, not maybe because he's dead now, but yeah, the evil one we're meant to see in Ant-Man and the Wasp 3 is coming. He is coming. So yeah, so this was Kang. And yeah, so he was he who remains. He was he who remains. And I think he who remains not because of the timekeepers, but because he is the one who remains in this kind of accessible existence because of the fact that he has locked away the other variations of himself. The other versions of himself have been locked away. They've been time locked away by him outside the sacred timeline. So then he is the only one who actually exists in a way that is accessible to people like Loki and Sylvie. So. But yeah, he had scripts too. He had scripts too, which is actually why up until the next event Redline, he actually knew everything that was going to happen. He knew everything that was going to be said. He had access to the kind of feature scripts, the TVA style speech scripts of Loki and Sylvie talking. Like he knew everything they would say, everything they would try and do. So that's why he was actually able to teleport out of the way just before Sylvie tried to kill him, because he knew she would try that, and he knew how she would try that. So he's very very kind of he's very very clairvoyant in that sense. I think. Omniscient, I believe that's also another one. I think that's the one where it's omniscient is the one that's all powerful. Well, no, omnipotent is all powerful, I think, and then omniscient I think might be all seeing or all seeing. So he sees all. And I think even Ms. Minutes actually described him he creates all, he sees all, he knows what happens, and he knows everything that's meant to happen. And stuff. So yeah, he's that kind of omniscient, kind of godlike kind of figure and everything. So that was cool. And his garb, his whole kind of get up was cool too. And he had that his own little style of a tempad kind of watch thing. So that was fun. And yeah, he actually made a deal with. I think Ms. Minutes had one deal, and then Loki, and then Kang actually had another. I think Ms. Minutes actually initially kind of passed off one deal where it was Loki can have victory, he can actually win in his life, he can go back, he can defeat the Avengers, he can kill Thanos, he can get the throne to Asgard, all the victory he has wanted in his life, he can actually achieve it and become who he wants to be in that regard. And then Sylvie can go back to her life and go back to her childhood and go back to actually living her life without worry of being a threat to all of time and space. So that was one deal. But then Kang had another one. Well, yeah, I'll get to that now. Should I get to that now? I think there's a lot to talk about. My mind runs in very, very kind of... My mind itself, my mind actually has a branch. My mind is one timeline that then branches into various things I want to talk about, and then they overlap, and my mind has its own kind of multiversal war of actually, deciding which point to talk about first. But his deal, I think, his deal, I'll get to that soon, because there's other stuff that I actually want to talk that leads into that, so I'll get to that soon. I say that now, and watch in 10 minutes when I actually fuck everything up and I actually don't mention it at all, the thingy, Kang actually mentioned how he had actually paved the way for Loki and Sylvie to get here, everything from Lamentus 1, and even before that he knew what would happen. He saw them on Lamentus actually having an emotional moment by the lake and actually causing that the next event, and then he made sure that they could actually get to the void together as well, and then actually escape the void together and find their way to him. So he had been paving the way. And everything that they had done from the TVA beginning to finding their way to him, he had actually made sure everything would go the way they wanted, and actually, going through the struggles that they did, but also actually going through the path to victory, and going through the path to actually finding him at the end of that road was a path that he had crafted. So I think and him controlling everything for them as well as for everyone else too. I think, again, that's great. I mean, not to say that it's exclusive to Supernatural, but it did remind me a lot of Supernatural and Chuck actually crafting 15 years worth of a path for Sam and Dean, actually throwing all sorts of threats and storylines and character development arcs their way for 15 years. It definitely reminded me quite a bit of that. But again, it's not exclusive to Supernatural. It's just like a writing technique, and especially for this kind of story and genre, it's a writing technique. So yeah, but then that kind of made him like even more of like an antagonist and even more of like a liar in their eyes, and especially Sylvie's eyes. So that was his kind of power over them. And then, yeah, his history, Kang's history. So there was a variant of him in the 31st century, so way off in the Marvels, in the MCU's kind of future, a version of him in the 31st century with the, I think, and understandably, with the resources and technology he had available to him then. That variant of him did discover the multiverse. I think he discovered like I think he said like like a universe or like a galaxy or like versions of like galaxies or planets actually living on top of one another, like a version of Earth living on top of his and even under his, so actually occupying the same space but then in different frequencies and different variations and everything. So he discovered that, and then he actually found a way to access those different versions of Earth and those different versions of the same universe. And through those kind of gateways, he actually met different versions of himself. So yeah, then that was the dawn of the multiversal war. So the multiversal war was started in the 31st century. So yeah, so then initially it started out as very peaceful, like actual nice and calm and very very kind of like nice and just cool, but like just calm and coexistent versions of himself actually like living together and actually complementing each other and actually coexisting in peace. But then other versions that weren't so nice actually wanted power and supremacy, and they saw new worlds and saw an opportunity to conquer. That's how Kang the Conqueror came to be. That's how Kang the Conqueror, I think presumably in this version, that's how Kang the Conqueror came to be. But then those versions of himself, and actually multiple versions too, like multiple bad versions, like multiple bad versions of Kang himself came to be, and actually and they saw new worlds, and then they saw like different worlds to conquer and to actually broker some chaos and danger out of. So they then started a multiversal war. So then they all. So I think in that sense it's less. I think it's easier and probably more accurate to say that some worlds, some timelines fought for peace, whilst others fought for power. So it's like the multiversal war wasn't all about power, but it was about some timelines actually fighting to gain control and power over other timelines, whereas most of them probably wanted to just kind of protect themselves and live in peace and everything. So that happened. So that's what happened, and then the one we see now, like the Kang we get in live action in this episode, is the one who actually, like, he is the one who actually decided to kind of kick all the other timelines out of the sacred timeline. He created the sacred timeline. He actually decided to actually like lock away all the other versions of himself and all the other timelines, and actually restrict access to each other and create the sacred timeline. So he is the one. He is the one person who is actually keeping the kind of timeline and keeping reality itself in check. Because without him, then the other versions would actually. So I think that reminds me of Odin and Hela, like Odin being alive, like Odin locking Hela away to prevent her from causing more chaos and destruction across the 9 realms. But then Odin being alive was the only thing keeping Hela at bay. So then once he died, that kind of opened the door on Hela's cage, and then she actually came through in a portal and stuff. So then Kang dying literally unleashes not only the multiverse and all those branches, but then it also allows multiple versions of one terrifying man, as Loki said, to exist. I think, and I feel like in that sense, this Kang is like, I think, because I mean, I'm still kind of curious as to whether or not this, like the version of Kang we see here was still like an evil one that turned good, or like an evil one that tried to maintain some sense of peace, or maybe if he was actually like maybe if he was a neutral one, like maybe if he actually was one who had power, but then he saw the chaos that was being caused, and he actually decided to actually create the sacred timeline and actually lock away everything else in other restricted kind of branches and everything. I mean. So yes, I think the branches themselves, right? Like the timeline, like multiple timelines can still exist without branches, but then the branches are what the branches are is just literally those other timelines coming into coexistence with the main timeline. So the main timeline can still be one thick kind of wavy line, but then the branches themselves are the other timelines actually coming into actual kind of accessible and material kind of reality. So they still exist, but just outside of, like they are literally time locked. But then once those timelines actually start to converge with the sacred timeline, then those branches come in, and then that's what you actually see coming into full effect. So this Kang, I think it's safe to presume that he was actually fairly neutral, and he saw the damage that was caused. And I think he saw that like, especially given the casualties of the multiversal war, like the war meant that in the end no one would really be alive. So then the only way to actually fix this and to actually prevent further destruction from being caused was to then actually lock off all the other timelines and actually lock away his other variants and actually create the sacred timeline. So yeah, with this, and I think Kang also, I think now that like the Kang now in the kind of present-ish day, like his mentality now was that he had actually been scouring the timeline, looking for potential kind of variants to actually take over his spot. Because I think he him even expressing that he was old and he kind of had enough of this and he just wanted to retire and stuff. And he him saying like, this game is for the young and the hungry, and I've been at this for eons, and now I'm tired and I just want to go and retire to a farm like Thanos or something. So then he actually kind of determined that with their kind of thirst for the truth and their thirst for knowledge and their thirst for like to find out what real power is, or at least with Loki says, like, Sylvie just wanted freedom. Sylvie's kind of thirst for like search for freedom and stuff. But then Loki's actual kind of thirst for true knowledge and true power, like for knowledge and true power, like it made both of them ideal candidates, like in Kang's eyes, to be the next rulers of the TVA. So I think his deal, I think not necessarily a deal, I think kind of a deal, but also like him kind of presenting them with the two options they have: either kill him and unleash even more terrifying versions of himself onto the multiverse, or actually spare him, but then also take over from him and actually rule the TVA by themselves and actually keep things in check. And then I think even his kind of like thing that the TVA is unethical and immoral, but it's also necessary to actually keep stuff in place. So the TVA is real. The timekeepers are the only thing that's not real, but the TVA, he still created that in mind. He still created that with actual kind of timeline synchronicity and timeline safety in mind. He still created that in order to actually keep more dangerous versions of himself from actually kind of like from resurfacing and actually enacting more chaos. So the TVA itself again, and he even said like it's not personal. Like what happened to Loki and what happened to Sylvie, especially what happens to all these variants. It's nothing personal. It's like for him, it's just a way to keep stuff in check without having to actually constantly interact with the timeline in person every now and then. So the TVA is actually his way of actually being able to keep stuff in check. So yeah. And I mean, for Kang, I feel like that's actually, I don't know if I mentioned this already, but I think for Kang as well, like, I think that's a really interesting way to introduce his character too. Like the Kang we get isn't even the Kang we're expecting. We're expecting the Kang the Conqueror that people would know from the comics and people would actually expect to be in Ant-Man and the Wasp 3. But this one, again, he's different for a reason. He's very different personality-wise and appearance-wise, and even like motivation-wise, he's very different for a reason, and it's because of the fact that the multiverse is a sensitive topic. It needs to be handled with care, both by the writers and with the story itself, and by the characters themselves too. So I think, the version of Kang we get is not one who's actively trying to take down the TVA. Like the version of Kang we're introduced to is not one who's is not one who actually wants domination and power and all that kind of stuff and chaos and to conquer it just yet. But the version we get is the one who's warning us of all of that. Like the version we get is the one who's actually warning us that multiple versions of him exist out there that actually want exactly that kind of danger and that kind of destruction. So he's been working his entire life to actually prevent that kind of truth from becoming a reality and everything. So like I think it's an interesting enough twist, and I think it actually could actually give us like more kind of range from Jonathan Majors too, like him actually going from playing the guy warning us of all of this, and the guy is actually like a bit more like that, and then Ant-Man and the Wasp 3 jumping into the boots of like someone who's actually filled with rage and filled with this need for power and this need to conquer and everything. So yeah, I think it's an interesting enough twist, and I think it's a twist that we can have without worrying about whether or not we're going to see the real, because like it's not like a Mandarin thing, where it's not like a Mandarin thing where we have to like be disappointed with the truth in Mandarin. I think it's not like a Mandarin thing where we have to be disappointed with the twist only to find out in a one-shot later on that the real Mandarin is pissed off. Because with this one, again, he is just one version of Kang that's then going to be like reprised by another. He's one version of Kang, and then like an even more dangerous version who's been rumored and teased already is going to show up later on, so then we can actually still look forward to him in even truer fashion or even more accurate fashion. And stuff. So then that's that, and then yeah, I think there was another version, but then there's gonna be like a separate video I'll make, not even to do with Loki, but there's like another character who's similar, I think who I believe goes on a similar kind of track path with that kind of story and character reveal. Who I think, and like another video could be on the way. So yeah, I'll kind of leave it to them, but. Yeah, with this one, I think it's a twist that you may not see coming, but at the same time, it's like it's a twist that I think kind of makes sense. The thing with Kang, I think I believe you do not want to actually kind of show because on the one hand, it's like I feel like if you want to see Kang, you'd want to see the Kang you recognize, but again, maybe more in like a more appropriate setting. And I think not to say that Loki wouldn't be the appropriate setting, but then of course, like he has been teased to actually show up for the first time in Ant-Man and the Wasp 3, so then this would be like a surprise that maybe Marvel just kind of doesn't really think it is right, or like feels ready for their plan and everything. So teasing him in this way, actually, I believe actually amps up. I think especially given the way that this Kang actually kind of teased those variations of himself, it actually kind of amps up the stage and amps up the scales to actually prepare the audiences and the characters to meet an even more dangerous version of himself that actually does want power and destruction and chaos and everything. So for that reason, I feel like it actually really works. It actually really works. And then I think Loki and Sylvie in this episode were actually like that one scene right before they sword fought. Was pretty good to see, and especially I think it's the parallels between Loki and Sylvie too. I think these are very, very different experiences and journeys, and different goals for Loki and Sylvie too. Like for Loki, he just needs to know the truth. He needs to know the truth. He needs to know who's really in charge, who's in power, who's actually controlling everything. But then with Sylvie, she has spent her entire life from the day she was a child, and TVA just stuck in behind her in her room and stuff, and actually kidnapped her and actually told her she was a variant, and then she escaped and she's been on the run ever since. Like for her entire life since she was a child, she's been fighting to find out who's behind the TVA so that she can kill them because of what they took from her. So for her, it's a very, very different thing. So I think for her, it's also those two different things too. I think those two different mentalities actually come into play very, very solidly here. Wherein it's like with Loki. Again, with him being the version who's in search of power and who's in search to find out who's behind all of this. Once he finds out, but also once he finds out what happens when you remove the person in power, and then those other forces come into play. Like he's even more terrified. Like he's even more scared of actually what could happen. He's like, even if he it's even riskier to find out if he's not lying than to actually let him I can get this, that's why it's even risk. I think the cost of seeing whether or not he is lying is far too great a risk to actually enact that kind of a plan, if that makes any sense at all. I don't know if that makes any sense, but like him being aware that it's even riskier to test whether or not he's actually lying then I think you guys know what I'm trying to say, right? You guys understand the words that I am trying to say. I just can't even talk coherently all of a sudden. But I mean, he understands that the risk is far too great. And I think it's a lot safer and it's a lot easier to actually let Kang live than to actually risk killing him and to just get to get that sense of free will. is far too great a risk, because then like the good is that you get free will, the bad is that you get multiple evil versions of Kang, and maybe even one superior version of Kang that's evil, that ends up actually destroying your timeline and like a bunch of other timelines and everything. So yeah, and I think with the multiverse too, so then it's infinite. I do want to believe that the MCU's portrayal of the multiverse is that the timelines are infinite too. So then it's like, so then Kang, even if Kang wants to actually conquer multiple timelines, like he'd be going on forever. He'd be like Zoom from the Flash. He'd be going on forever and ever, trying to find supremacy and trying to actually gain some sense of supremacy. So then he actually end up going to timelines forever, and he'd actually be building up like an arsenal of timelines under his control and under his power. So that would be fucking crazy. So, I mean, with the Speedster, it's bad enough, but then with someone like Kang, I mean, I know what Kang's actual powers or what his prowess actually is, but even with Kang, it would still be just as bad. So yeah. But then the Loki and Sylvie thing, so, Sylvie, I think, like Sylvie definitely had her own kind of more emotionally charged kind of battle against Loki to actually kill that thing, and I think it makes sense for Sylvie too. It definitely makes sense for Sylvie, because again, if you get the path that she has been on, she has come too far to go anywhere else. I think it's one of Loki's lines too from Avengers. I know it's one of Loki's lines too. Fury telling him he doesn't have to, steal or kill, and then he's like, you know what? No, I've come too far for any other thing, for any other purpose. So I think Sylvie, she definitely has to come too far for anything else, like to come all this way. And I think it would be. I feel like that would also definitely be like a more typical ending too. Like, oh, she's come all this way to find out who's really behind the TV, and like she's gonna kill them and burn them down and everything. And then all of a sudden it's like, oh, okay, maybe something's better than this. But for Sylvie, this has been her purpose. I think for her, and I think at least from my kind of perspective, it makes sense for her to actually kind of have this ending and for her to actually go down this path. So then Sylvie is the one who then as a result actually unleashes the multiverse. I think from WandaVision to thinking that Wanda having the dark code would unleash the multiverse, because then she'd use the dark code to open up the branches. But no, Sylvie is the one who kills the one person whose life and whose kind of continued presence is actually keeping the multiverse kind of encased and safe and everything, but then her killing him kind of takes out that power, and then all the other gangs come in and pick on all the timelines right for the fucking and everything. So it's an interesting kind of continuation. I think I'm very curious to see where she goes from here, and to see exactly how she deals with it, and to see how she deals with it. And also, I think this makes me want to see her in Multiverse. This makes me want to see her in Multiverse of Madness, because I think maybe for her, like maybe her seeing the full effect of what her decisions have on the multiverse would be like an interesting kind of perspective changer, or maybe it would be like an interesting way for her to see, like, not to punish her, and like not necessarily to punish her, like, oh, you see what you've done now, you killed Kang, and now you've actually unleashed all of this, like, not necessarily for that. I mean, maybe Doctor Strange would take that route and actually kind of try and berate her or try and scold her or something. But then for her, I think it would just be like an interesting way to kind of like to see how she would react and like what she would learn from that. But also maybe even her actually maybe her seeing that would be the key to me, like, so, some things aren't worth the price of vengeance, and vengeance isn't really as cathartic as you think, because then you kill one person, but then you actually unleash even more horrifying versions of himself on the timeline. So then, how much is it really worth in the end? So I think for now, for now it's an interesting enough route for Sylvie to take, and I'm curious to see where she goes from here. But then I think Loki and Sylvie fought, and then they use their magic, and even Loki's speech at the end, being like, he doesn't want a throne, he doesn't want power, he doesn't want control, he doesn't want any of what he used to want. He's not the same player. He's literally not the same person he was back in the Avengers, or he's not the same person he was in the actual kind of canon MCU timeline. Up until his death, but now he's changed. Now he's actually met Sylvie. He's met other versions of himself. He's found out what different variations mean. He's found out what he's garnered all this new knowledge that has changed him, and he's actually evolved because of it and stuff. So because of that, he actually says, I don't want any throne, I don't want power, I don't want any of that. I just want you to be okay. He cares about Sylvie. He actually genuinely cares about Sylvie, and I think I think it's probably. I think because that kind of line is so vague, I think it's definitely open to interpretation from the audience as to whether it's platonic or romantic. I think people can and should be able to go whichever way they want with that. But I think like in the end, it's like I think the vagueness of it could also be seen as kind of beautiful too. Like he doesn't matter how, he just does. It doesn't matter how he cares, like in what kind of style and when, like to what level he cares. But the fact that he does care about her enough to still want to keep everything safe is what matters. And then Loki and Sylvie had their kiss. Sylvie initiated their first kiss and everything. So yeah, I think given what happened afterwards, right, I'm kind of scratching my head and just kind of questioning the authenticity and the legitimacy of that kiss. Like, because then straight after that, she does use Kang's kind of little personalized tempad to actually open up a portal and push him through. So then I have to wonder if that kiss really was actually maybe like half real, half a distraction, because then she could actually turn him around and just push him through tempad and actually close the portal up behind him. But then also it's just being like, oh, I care about you too. But then, again, I care about you too, but I've also come too far for anything else. So then this is my mission. I'm going to see through to the end, and there's nothing you can do to stop me. So goodbye, Loki. I'll see you again soon, and stuff. So yeah, and yeah, I think in terms of Loki and Sylvie, I think again, people in the fandom have had very, very mixed reactions and very mixed feelings and stuff. Like some people being against it, some people being for it, others being neutral. So I feel like this kind of I feel like that scene alone appeals to all corners. I feel like that scene alone appeals to all corners of the fandom, where it's like, some people will be like, oh, it's not real, she just used it to distract him, and others being like, no, that's her response to him telling her that he cares about her and everything, and then others being like, you know what, why not mix of both? It definitely fits the description of both. Like, on the one hand, it is her response to him telling her that he cares, and her being like, thank you, I care about you too, but then also it's like, okay, again, also, I've come too far for anything else, so then now I need to actually see my mission through, and since you're going to be nothing but like an obstacle in that path, I have to remove you from the path. So yeah, Loki and Sylvie. I think their journey throughout this entire show, regardless of whatever romantic and like kind of relationship implications there could or could not be, in this series as a whole, their development and their relationship as a whole, like their dynamic has been such a pleasure to watch throughout this entire kind of series and throughout this entire season now, and stuff. So I think it really makes me look forward to seeing what can happen in season 2 and like what more we can see from them and how they might actually pick up from where they've left off and everything. And especially because be able to see season 2 like happening whenever it will. I think I'm really curious to see where they might pick off and how they might actually pick off and what they might have to say to each other and everything. So it should be fun. But they have been a pleasure to watch. Tom Hiddleston and Sophia DiMartino have absolutely nailed Sylvie and Loki's relationship throughout this entire season. So yeah, so props to them and props to the writers too for handling it with like how they did and everything. So it's been really fun. And Sophia DiMartino as well as Sylvie has been such a pleasure to watch too. And I think especially going from theories of, oh, we're going to get Lady Loki, to then it being Sylvie, and it's like, oh, so then she's going to be Enchantress, and then now I think she still hasn't actually kind of claimed or kind of been labelled as the Enchantress in any way whatsoever, so I think maybe that might be a thing reserved for season 2, but her being Sylvie herself has been a character that's been really, really kind of cool to explore, and a character that's actually been really easy to feel for and really easy to kind of connect with and kind of understand her experiences in her life and what she's been through and why she's doing what she's doing. So Sylvie has been really, really fun to watch. So I love her so much. And again, I really look forward to seeing her. I really look forward to seeing her actually joining the other female heroes in the future too. Maybe in like a more actual fleshed out and well developed way. Like as fun as the A4 scene in Avengers Endgame was, again, I'd much rather see a scene in the future where all the female heroes have actually met each other. They know each other. They've actually got some stories to share, and they've actually got a connection to kind of display and everything. So hopefully in the future we can actually see her interacting with Wanda, sharing their powers and talking about their powers, and actually interacting with Captain Marvel and Valkyrie, like Sylvie and Valkyrie. That would be really cool. Like, imagine Sylvie meeting Valkyrie, because I think we have. I don't know if she ever actually met the Valkyrie as a kid, or if she actually was just forced to kind of play with her toys and kind of like think of that. Because I think the Valkyrie would technically be celebrities too, so maybe they'd actually be more reserved or more just kind of, or maybe because they are like an actual kind of Asgardian militia, like an Asgardian army, maybe they'd actually be more reserved and more kind of private in that sense too. So then maybe meeting Tessa Thompson's Valkyrie would be the first official meeting with the Valkyrie that she actually has. So then that would also be really cool too. So then hopefully in the future, like she and all the other female heroes in the MCU actually get to meet each other, and actually get to, you know, to actually kind of coexist and actually, you know, like exist alongside each other with some actual sense of connection and like actual likeness and stuff like that. So hopefully, but yeah, Sylvie was great. Sylvie has been in this season, so I very much look forward to seeing her in season 2. But yeah, that was Loki and Sylvie. And then yeah, at the very end, so then Sylvie killed Loki. So Sylvie killed not Loki. Sylvie killed Kang. She stuck a sword right through his chest and then opened up the branches and everything. So that's gonna be the thing. And then the TVA screens, the TVA kind of monitors where the branches are actually shown has never looked more menacing than now. Like until now, I think we thought Sylvie bombing the timeline back in episode 3, and then those branches showing up, we thought those were bad. This finale blew that out of the water. This finale blew that scene out of the water with, like, you know, with I think what got to me too was, like, you know, with episode 3 it was branches. It was just multiple branches just actually converging. But then with this one, it's like it's branches, and then from those branches, other branches too. That one actually got to me. It's like in like seeing branches from the main timeline are one thing, but then branches and then branches coming off of those branches too. Like it's like all the possible branches you could think of, and then, you know, even these ones actually, literally by the end of it, there was not a single branch that hadn't actually redlined. There was not a single branch that had not redlined and turned into a massive multiverse or massive X event type thing. So everything that the TVA was afraid of happening had actually happened, and had actually finally happened in this episode. So now they have got a hell of a fight on their hand if they're going to be involved in this in any way. But yeah, Sylvie did that, and then Loki made his way back to Hunter B-15 and Mobius too. So, and yeah, I think what got to me by the very final scene even more was the possibility even of Loki being even more scared of Kang than he was of Thanos. Like with Thanos, I think with Thanos, like this Loki had a very, very minimal interaction with Thanos, because I think there was that one interaction he had where he actually broke that deal with Thanos to get to actually have the Chitauri and the scepter in exchange for actually getting him the Tesseract from Earth. And that was that one interaction. But then he actually sees his future in the TVA where he loses everyone, and then he ultimately loses his own life at the hands of Thanos himself. So like that's the one thing he's seen, which did scare him, but it scared him into working with the TVA and actually it scared him into actually acknowledging the truth about his motivations and his mindset and everything like that. So then that's one thing. But then with Kang, I think it makes even more sense that he would actually be afraid of Kang, because again, Kang is this, like, at least the Kang he's met has been this all-knowing, all-powerful being who knows exactly what will happen if he dies, and he warns them, like, if you kill me, there's no going back. And like, you know, like an even worse version, like an even worse version of myself, like multiple worse versions of myself will come after you, and will come after the entire sacred timeline, and come after all the timelines, and there'll be next to no stopping them, and stuff like that. So then that whole notion, that whole reveal, like that whole kind of sequence kind of terrified Loki into actually wanting to keep Kang alive, to actually prevent like an even greater threat from actually kind of like resurfacing and stuff. So then that whole kind of thing, like for one thing, it makes me really want to see Loki in Multiverse of Madness, which will likely happen, which probably should happen, given the way this has gone. But also, I think, you know, like it makes me want to see Loki actually meeting Kang as well, like actually meeting him and actually having to face up against him, and I think also, I think in terms of character, it's just like a really interesting kind of display of fear and emotion, like where Loki hasn't even met the guy yet, but he's just heard these stories and he's already kind of terrified, and he's already shitting bricks and everything, and he's just like, you know, like multiple versions of this really terrifying dude are coming, and it's the end of everything we know, and we have to prepare and stuff. And then he actually looks, and then there's that one statue, like the three, because of the branches, the three Timekeeper statue has been replaced by one singular statue, and it's of Kang. It's a Kang the Conqueror, and arguably the Kang the Conqueror that we can actually expect to meet in Ant-Man and the Wasp 3. So yeah, like Loki being, like, you know, like undeniably afraid of Kang in leagues more effectively than he was actually ever afraid of Thanos is like truly a sight to behold and something to actually kind of try and process that, you know, like Loki is afraid of this guy who he hasn't even met and he's never really properly interacted with. Like he's interacted with a calmer, more reasonable version, and now he's about to meet the actual big deal himself. So it's really something. It's really something. So yeah, there is going to be a season 2. Season 2 has officially been confirmed. So that definitely opens the floodgates for a lot more theories to come in. I feel like this, like it has to take place after Doctor Strange 2. I feel like I don't know why, but I feel like it would make more sense for it to take place after Doctor Strange 2. And I think for it to be like a continuation of that, because I think whatever happens in Doctor Strange 2, because I think for Doctor Strange 2, I think like one of the many questions I have is like, you know, will the multiverse still be a thing? Because I feel like, you know, I think, and especially like a theory I saw the other day was that, you know, phase 1 to 3 of the MCU was the Infinity Saga with the Infinity Stone and everything, but then phase 4, maybe even phase 4 onwards, phase 4 to 6 maybe, will be the Multiverse Saga. So that will be, and you know, phase 4, I think phase 4 might close off with the Fantastic Four. So then phase 4, and I think phase 4 closes off with that, and then phase 5, I think phase 5 and 6 could be what introduces the X-Men and like, you know, any other kind of big teams. I think phase 4 could close off with the Fantastic Four. That would be the end of it, and then phase 5 could actually start up, or somewhere in phase 5 could be the X-Men and everything. So then phase 4 to 6 could be the multiversal saga. So then Doctor Strange 2, I feel like the way Doctor Strange 2 could go could be that, you know, maybe they find a way to control the multiverse. Maybe they actually work together to defeat Kang, or maybe not. Actually, no, probably not to defeat Kang, because then he still has to. Or maybe, yeah, no, because it's multiple different versions of Kang. It's multiple versions, like of the same bad guy, the same version. So then maybe one evil version of Kang shows up in Doctor Strange 2, and then they defeat him. But then maybe because of that, they're misled into thinking that the evil versions of Kang are now gone. So then maybe now they can actually keep the multiverse up and running without any fear of any further interventions, or maybe without any fear of danger, because then they believe that they've defeated all the evil versions of Kang that could be, but then one is still kind of off in the distance, actually waiting to pop up and stuff, and then he's the one. Maybe he's the version that we see in Ant-Man and the Wasp 3. So then I think that raises the question of like, you know, like which one will be the Kang from the comics that comic readers will recognize. But then also, like, you know, they can be as creative as they want with it. Like they can really be as creative and as expansive in terms of character and in terms of interpretation that they actually want with that. So then that really opens the doors for a lot of different opportunities too. So then we have one Kang here who's actually calmer and more kind of reserved, and then who's a lot more reasonable, who's then killed. And then we have like a bit more of an evil version in Doctor Strange 2 that they then have to defeat, and then they're introduced to all these different multiversal enemies, and then Ant-Man and the Wasp 3. Then that might be when we get the real Kang that we actually recognize from the comics and stuff like that. So, yeah, so that makes me think, so then Loki season 2 could actually deal with the aftermath of Doctor Strange 2 and actually deal with, like, the multiverse still being a thing, but maybe then we actually still get the TVA, but then maybe Loki and Sylvie then come to the kind of agreement that with this new multiverse that's actually now free from any danger, free from any kind of war or anything like that, maybe now we can still have a TVA, but one that actually kind of monitors the multiverse, or maybe... Well, I don't know, because I think the TVA was still, I don't know, because then the TVA was still founded out of, like, the actual kind of sense of control and oppression and actual control over people's lives and everything, so, because I don't know if the TVA can still exist, or maybe if it can be rebranded or remodeled into something else, but either way, I think Loki season 2 will definitely have to deal with it. I think Loki season 2 will definitely have to deal with maybe with or without the TVA. It will definitely have to deal with with an MCU that now exists with other timelines, and they'll actually have to deal with other characters and other possibilities being ever present and also easily accessible too. So it's a whole new playing field. Like, you know, people who thought 10 years ago that the Infinity Stones were like a big thing and that Thanos was a big thing, now, you know, they're gonna have their we're all gonna have our minds blown with the actual display and the actual kind of presentation of the multiverse in Phase 4 of the MCU and onwards. So it's gonna be a wild run. And we didn't get Mobius jet ski. We did not get Mobius jet ski. I feel like they purposefully lifted up all these different kind of more optimistic and all these positive and hopeful kind of reservations and predictions for the season finale, only to have it all ripped away in exchange for this more kind of dramatic and teasy and scary kind of finale that actually teases a lot more horrifying things to come. So I think they purposefully made this finale into something that actually kind of turns all those, that pushes all those things to the side to be saved for later, only to be like, this is the big deal right now. Don't worry, Mobius will get his jet ski at some point in the future, but right now we need to worry about this Kang motherfucker and what he wants to do with the multiverse. So I think they purposely kind of designed this finale to actually be as kind of concerning and as anxiety-inducing as it is. So yeah, I think it's undeniable. It definitely amps you up for all the stuff that could happen in the future and all the stuff that could actually happen in Multiverse of Madness and maybe even in No Way Home. So yeah, so I think it's official now that the 3 titles connected to Multiverse of Madness are WandaVision, Loki, and No Way Home too. So I think No Way Home, that one. No Way Home comes out before Multiverse of Madness 2, so I think I'm hoping that actually still aligns with Marvel's actual film release and actual like plan and the actual kind of chronological kind of film, so their kind of story plan and everything. So I'm hoping it doesn't mess things up too much. But then No Way Home, I don't know how that's gonna work. I think maybe that might lead into Multiverse of Madness too, like maybe because then with No Way Home, then if they do the Spider-Man with that, maybe that's the start. Maybe it's easier to actually tease a multiverse with the Spider-Man. Maybe actually have one movie with all the Spider-Man in it, and then Multiverse of Madness. That's going to be an even bigger, like an Avengers level movie where you actually have all these different timelines being displayed. So you have X-Men, the Spider-Man coming back again, the TV shows over there, and then all these, and then in like another corner, you have maybe all the different variations of maybe all the different timelines, all the different versions of how movies in the MCU could have happened. So maybe one where Cap actually was never frozen, or maybe one where the Avengers lost the battle in New York, or maybe one where, I don't know, maybe one where the Avengers lose different battles, or maybe different characters die when they're meant to, or different things happen, or maybe one where Natasha doesn't die. Maybe one where a sacrifice is never required. Maybe one where she still lives. Maybe one where certain characters live, but people who deserve to live, and then other people who actually end up dying and stuff. And maybe just different stuff that happens and stuff. So then I feel like No Way Home is going to be more of a teaser for the multiverse, and then that's going to prepare you for the possibility and all the things that could happen in Doctor Strange 2, and then Doctor Strange 2. Just all these different things happening all at once. It's going to be like an Avengers level movie, and it's going to be insane, and it's going to be really expansive and stuff. And I'm really curious as to what the CGI is going to be for Doctor Strange 2, because I think Doctor Strange 1 had incredible kind of comic accurate CGI. It had really comic accurate CGI and really comic accurate visual effects and everything, and different displays. I think for the multiverse, I'm really curious as to what the visuals are going to look like for Doctor Strange 2. It's just going to be portals upon portals. I think the portals for Endgame were really, really simplistic, but still beautiful to look at. But then the portals for Endgame for Multiverse of Madness, I feel like that's going to be just all over the place, and it's going to show different time streams converging through portals, and it's going to show different people coming out of different portals. It's just going to be insane. So I think the visuals for Doctor Strange 2, I'm really curious. I'm really, really curious to see exactly what that's going to look like, especially with the multiverse coming into play too, and especially with our first glimpse at the multiverse visuals in the opening for this episode too. I feel like that was our first glimpse. I think I'm wondering how that might be duplicated or replicated rather, or even enhanced for Doctor Strange 2. So yeah, that's going to be fun. That is going to be fun. But yeah, I think it should be a really, really fun ride. I think Kang as well. I'm wondering if he could be the next Thanos. I don't want to jump too far ahead and be like, oh, who's the next Thanos? Who's the next this? Who's the next that? What's gonna happen next? What's their plan? But I'm wondering if Kang, because again, I think the more common theory is that Galactus could be. I feel like Galactus could be. I feel like I think Galactus. I feel like Kang could be the Loki of the next few phases. I feel like Kang could be the Loki. I think could be the Loki, and I feel like the way that Loki was more like the sub-villain for phase 1 to 3 up until his death, I feel like Kang could be the Loki in the coming ones, but then more amplified and more dangerous, and then Galactus could be the even bigger one, because I think between Galactus and Kang, Galactus has to be the even bigger, more powerful one, because he literally munches on planets, and he literally ends all life everywhere, and he's, big enough to have Earth show up as like a golf ball in his hands. I think he easily has to be the even bigger bad that they're waiting to actually reintroduce. I think Kang could be the one, and especially maybe with Kang's ability to travel between dimensions and timelines could also be the key to actually bringing Galactus in and actually having him. Because I feel like Galactus having one universe all to himself to eat planets is one thing, but then based depending on whether or not Galactus already knows that the multiverse is a thing, if he actually runs into other timelines where other planets exist too, dude's gonna think he's at like some kind of all-you-can-eat buffet. So I mean, a universe in itself is already an all-you-can-eat buffet, but like a multiverse, it's just like an infinite supply of food for him to gorge on. So yeah, but I definitely feel like I definitely feel like Kang could be like a more amplified version of the villain that Loki was throughout phase 1 to 3, and then Galactus is what that's building up to. So, not to say that Kang will be any less valuable, or any less kind of, or any less valid of like a villain or a character than Galactus will be, but then he will be what leads us into someone as big and as prominent as Galactus. So yeah. But yeah, that is pretty much it. That is pretty much what I have for this finale, and pretty much for this show as a whole. This show has been amazing. This show has been so good. I think, especially after how weird it felt watching the trailers and watching the trailers and kind of considering how wacky the trailers were, I think I definitely enjoyed this show more than I thought I would. I didn't really think that, I think WandaVision, I was excited to see Wanda. I was excited to see Wanda back in and seeing how much more of her character they explored in that, and they did a fantastic job. Falcon and Winter Soldier, that felt a lot more grounded and a lot more human, and definitely felt like a lot more kind of realistic than like most other kind of Marvel properties, and then that was fun. But then with Loki, it's had a really, really fun vibe around it. It's had a really fun. I think Loki. I think whilst WandaVision and Falcon have had more character explorative properties, I think Loki has had a wonderful mix of like character and environment explorative properties. Like where with Loki, I think it's actually exploring a different version. So it's not necessarily. It's creating it's like with WandaVision and Falcon and Soldier actually kind of exploring the future of already existing and already kind of ever present and actual real characters that there is. Like with Loki, it's felt more like it's actually taking one variation and creating a future for him through the TVA and through this entire series and everything. But then with the TVA stuff and then the multiverse stuff and all the different kind of times and days they've explored, it's definitely felt more environmentally explorative and actually in a sense leading into the multiverse. I think with that whole dynamic, it's actually felt a lot more fun to watch and a lot more fun to actually explore what the future of the MCU is going to be and everything. So they've done a terrific job with that. But everyone involved has done a great job making this show as enjoyable as it was and as fun to watch as it was, and actually making it as kind of as curiosity inducing as it was, actually making people want to find out what happens next and to find out what this means for the future of the MCU and everything. So seeing that has been really, really fun. So yeah, I can't wait to see what's next. So I can't wait to see what Doctor Strange 2 gets out of this, and then I actually can't wait to see what we could get for season 2 as a result of this and Multiverse of Madness 2. So it should be fun. It should be very fun. But yeah, thank you as always for being here and for watching these reactions and for watching the reaction to the finale as well. I'm hoping you guys enjoyed it as much as I did. And if you did, then leave your thoughts on this finale and this season as a whole, and what you thought, and if you enjoyed this show more, and what your predictions are for all the coming stories and coming kind of movies and TV shows to see. So yeah, that is pretty much it. So that was Marvel's Loki season 1 episode 6. And yeah, thank you guys as always so much for being here and for watching this video. If you guys enjoyed it, then salt and burn that like button. Comment on what you thought of the episode and what you think is coming up next time on comment on what you think is coming up next time on Marvel's Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness, and what your predictions are for season 2 of Loki as well, and what you hope to see and who you hope to see and all that jazz. And yeah, and once again, the full-length reaction will be available on Patreon, so you can go check that one out over there. And yeah, that'll be it. That is it. So I will see you guys next time.